Welcome back to the Two Thrones. So,
Uh,
time to ascend again.
is someone pissing in the background?
It's the fountain waves.
Doesn't look that yellow
I
anyway.
I just love these levels. The one where you can barely see shit in front of you.
To be fair, like I said, the King's Sword actually gives functions kind of like as a torch. The problem is that these platforms are also with those invisible enemies from before.
But you can still hear them.
So you're basically left swinging like an idiot and only having your music for your cue.
Could be worse.
Also, this is also one of those games where the lighting engine fucks up with some of the objects and has that that chest over there still lit by the.
So whenever there's music playing and enemies nearby,
Yeah, it's your cue, and when it stops,
at least it's not like Sonic Unleashed where it's like da 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 da.
and it changes depending on the point of the game. So it's never thing, you know.
Did I
And,
say
also,
Sonic Unleashed?
and like I said, the composing is a step up from the previous game instead of that generic metal, you know.
Which is funny because all three games had the same composer.
Oh, it's the direction that is different. Again, they tone down the edge and instead with arabesque nature of the series.
What a lovely walk this is.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure. Yes,
Dear Diary, I went on a walk across the tube. I couldn't see shit. Might come back here someday though.
Don't worry, actually get out of here soon enough. The problem, the major problem here is the fact that sometimes the layout may be similar between each platform. So your best bet is to hug the walls and see where they lead, and of course also kill the enemies because they can pop up. I mean, they do not respawn, so at least there is that. There you go. Then you can get up and basically move from there. The entire point right now is actually climb. Soon enough, you will reach the Tower of Babel, of Babylonia, as the
The
tradition.
boss told us that being invisible would help.
It's not enough. Ask Reptile. Oops.
Hey, he didn't die.
No. Well, the falling damage is also more generous in this game than in the previous ones, especially the first one.
That would have been.
Oops. A lifesaver, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, while the platforming and parkour is better than in Warrior Within, it's still not as good as in the first game. It's rough on the engine, and it's tied to the fact that the game was rewritten multiple times. So there you go.
Wait, are we back where we started?
No,
Shall I
don't
continue my
worry.
Story from here, if you are called away. I will continue my story from here next time.
The story about how you died is quite fascinating, woman.
Yeah, we keep forgetting Kalina dies at the beginning of the story. Don't worry, we're going somewhere.
It all started on the day I died.
Listen to my story. This may be the last time. Nope, that clearly
What
doesn't.
did you think was gonna happen?
It's called studying your environment. The camera is there for that reason. The problem is that the removal of the ability of using the fixed camera under any situation makes situations like this a bit worse. So if I had to switch on the fixed camera, I would have seen maybe better word. I still managed to see it thanks to the normal camera.
You know, it's funny you mentioned the line from Final Fantasy X, Tio.
Yeah, the beginning.
Yeah. Speaking of Final Fantasy X, in Europe at least,
Yeah.
the Final the 10, 10, 2, and 12 remasters are getting a physical release around here in Europe on Switch.
Yeah.
The bad news is, unfortunately, a la the Vita version, 10.2 is download only.
Oh well.
Alas.
Again, cartridges for
Well,
Switch are
it was
more
like that. It was
expensive.
like that in the Vita as well. Because
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I said a la Vita.
yeah.
And like
Yeah,
I said,
That's like a common thing.
Switch-
That's like a common. Sorry.
the Switch cartridges are more costly to produce. That's why companies prefer to not stick with that if not necessary.
That's like
Well,
a
it's
common
fine.
problem with
Well,
a lot of
it's fine.
Switch games. LA
Well,
Noir, you had to download like 3/4 of the game.
To be fair, a good portion of that is also companies kind of being lazy or not wanting to show out the money for it, despite the fact that it could be successful if they actually gave it a try. Don't even get me started on having to test certain things out just because they didn't have faith in the Switch, like, the umpteen port of Ultra Street Fighter 2.
Or Idea Factory with Fencer F, Advent Dark Force, where it's a digital-only game.
Because that's clearly what I want, a physical copy of it.
Well, there is a physical copy of it in the PS4, so it is
Although,
I don't want that.
Although, funnily enough, like Dwibs himself pointed out, LA Noir could have actually been capable without the whole download stuff. That was just the people behind
Rockstar.
that game, Rockstar.
2K depends. Well, it is.
Yeah, that's-
LA Noir is a
very-
mess
that's
of
a-
whoever in charge of in that
You know,
game.
speaking-
It's kind of
Speaking
like
of-
Blizzard with Activision.
It's funny you mentioned 2K actually, 2TO. The god awful Switch version of WWE 2K17.
Yeah, I
think
heard
it
of
was,
that.
you had to download half the game there too.
And it still
And that
didn't
clearly
work.
did not really need to happen. Like, god
Wait, what?
dang.
It was broken anyway, so
See, thankfully, unlike the Wii U version, it's not companies can all blame this on the Switch like they could with the Wii U partially, because the Switch actually is seeing more success. The Wii U was a punching bag because of its lack of sales.
I mean, hell, Activision were probably the most, the ones that probably stuck out the longest before they gave up.
And now,
EA gave up after like 2 games.
Yeah,
Activision put out like
the
maybe,
port of Mass Effect 3 and FIFA. Yeah.
and that's it. Activision at least did like 2 or 3 Call of Duties before they said, "You know what, fuck this."
Ironically enough, the last third-party company that left the Wii U was THQ Nordic, which made a port of the first Darksiders in 2017, actually, I think. It was one of the last Wii U games.
Wasn't that
on Breath of the
were
Wild.
they still called just Nordic by then?
I
Yeah.
don't remember.
this was before Nordic died, and then THQ started wearing their corpse like a steel.
It's the other way around.
I mean, sorry. This is before THQ died, and then Nordic.
No, Joe, but THQ died a long time ago, and Nordic took over a long time ago.
Hold on.
So-
I didn't finish completely though. I was about to say this is after after THQ Nordic died, but obviously this was before Nordic bought up THQ.
They bought the name and a few IPs, but they didn't use the name THQ till like a couple of years after.
And surprise,
Yeah.
surprise, they've been doing a better job of Nintendo support on the Switch in, well, quite a lot of ways. They're even releasing Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy soon.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So
Basically,
far,
thank you very much.
so far, THQ Nordic is doing stuff better than the original THQ. I mean, for one thing, they're not relying on, they're not putting all their bets on dumb peripherals.
Hell, THQ Nordic are doing things better than a lot of AAA companies on almost all platforms.
Well, like I
especially.
said, I think I said it in a previous part or something, but they're adopting a low risk and big success business. It doesn't guarantee good results 100% of the time, because
Nothing does.
Well, even for testing purpose, by the time we recorded recently, there was a THQ Nordic bundle. Clearly, I gladly took for $15, and I got, I forgot how many games, a bunch of them. Some of them are actually great, like I mentioned, the port of the first Darksiders perfectly smoothly on the PS4. It really is enjoyable like that.
Could you get Red Faction?
Red Faction 2 there was, because it was like the second bundle, so I missed the first one. But others like Lock's Quest are not that great. that one is a port of a DS game, and the conversion on a base console other than just not good. It's clunky, it's glitchy, in multiple patches. But like I said, we have a way of saying in my country that is basically not every donut comes up with a hole. So there you go.
Well, we got a saying in our country that's kind of like that. Yeah, fuck it.
Anyway, you also may have noticed that while he's technically gone in a sense of a transformation, the Dark Prince presence still lingers inside the Prince. The Prince just basically just ignores him. Don't worry, we will have some resolution before the end of the game. Just not in the... But let me say this. I forgot if I mentioned this already. I actually played the mobile version of this game when it came out. And keep in mind, I'm not talking about the stuff that you get nowadays from the iOS store or the Google store for mobile. I'm talking about Java, you know, the primitive mobile stuff. And the mobile version is quite different in terms of story, including the ending. But I'll mention it once we'll get to that. It treats the ending in such a different and radical themes. Playing after this one, it makes you wonder if they were written by two completely different people, one of which did not understand what was the message of this game. But
well, with a mobile port, that would not surprise me.
The problem is that for a Java, since it was around the primitive age, it was actually really good, and full of stuff you could do and everything. There was even kind of like a gauntlet endless mode that you could spend literally hours in. There was some stuff to do. Ubisoft clearly trying for that. Not that I deem, not that I condemn modern mobile games because honestly, if anything, I'm one of those who plays a lot of gacha F2P these days as well, and I'm perfectly fine with a couple of those.
I play Temple Run quite a lot when I'm bored.
It's just also to understand them rather than just playing them.
I played Puzzle Fighter before Capcom killed it. It wasn't
Are you
even
playing
a year
Sega
old.
Heroes, Jova?
No, not currently.
I heard it's not that good.
Of course it's not good. There's no knights in it.
Isn't there?
So basically, Jova, the way you said that, ladies and gentlemen, Jova's saying that 99% of all games suck because I say it.
No, dude. A Sega crossover without knights is kind of sucky. I mean, that's not to say that it won't have good merits without it.
To be fair, Jova, the roster-wise, Knights was in All-Stars Racing Transformed, but I prefer kind of like the first game in terms of roster type and variety. Oh?
Well, what's your reason for that?
Well, the fact that there are more franchises represented in general, like Transformed... hold on. Transformed added in new, quote-unquote, only Golden Axe, Skies of Arcadia, and Shinobi. And yes, you can count the stuff exclusive for the PC version, which are Football Manager and Total War and Company of Heroes 2. But compare this to the first game, which also had stuff like Village, House of the Dead. This stuff is gone from Transformed. So basically, you got a couple of new franchises, but remove one step forward or two steps backward in the process. Not to mention also the streamlining of the super moves, which in the first game were all personal and had any peculiar effect. But in the second game, they are basically reduced to either projectiles or just spinning up.
To be fair, that kind of has to do with the fact that super moves in the first game were kind of broken and game
That's what made them
breakers.
fun. It's like playing Budokai Tenkaichi 3 Jova for Dragon Ball game. Yes, it's unbalanced, but it's fun. Like,
Here's the thing though, Tio. With competitive online, people kind of want more balance in a sense. And hey, give Transform credit. At least more opportunity to hear the hero's themes when you use their
Well, that's-
quote-unquote super moves.
That's fine, Jova, but just because it's an online game, that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be competitive. I mean, if it's just the point of Tenkaichi Free
Well,
was to
nobody
just.
said it has to be. Nobody says it has to be competitive, but people preferred for a racing game to be more balanced because
Wouldn't
one of the
people play
biggest
Gran
questions.
Wouldn't people play like Gran Turismo for that though?
Here's the thing. In almost any racing game, to be needlessly unbalanced because in that case, then you just have a case where everyone's gonna play a certain particular character.
Why are you breaking the pottery, you dick?
Because fuck you.
Because
Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it.
Zelda.
Dweebs, to give an example, because one of the YouTube used to be my friend did this. In Skyrim, in Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, one of the first big rooms that you enter is this gigantic room with a long-ass table filled with cups. If you ever so slightly touch one, the guards are on top of you and they massacre you for no reason. So...
Oh, you are wrecking their property.
No, here's the thing, one of them may ask you why you're doing this. Your player character is as late, so for all intents and purposes, you were just thirsty and you needed water, or stuff like that.
Wow.
But anyway,
It's just that. Well, I was gonna say plenty of games where we just trade pottery Dweebs. So.
I didn't know. Tio, did you drug me and I was secretly playing this game for you? That's why there was all this stuff.
No, Dweeb, sometimes I can have fun too with it.
Also, Dweebs, play Legend of Zelda. It's definitely more common than you think.
I tried. I wasn't very. It wasn't very exciting. So.
Which one?
Breath of the Wild.
Oh, that.
Well, Dweebs, Dweebs, as a Zelda fan myself, I can tell that I wouldn't even recommend you to play that one anyway. Yeah, I know that's heresy. Yes, internet. I know that's heresy, but trust me. Trust me.
Be your best start because
Trust me, Dweebs. I'd recommend you play another one. Play Link's Awakening as your first one. That's probably one of the best ones for newcomers.
What system is it?
Game Boy.
Game Boy. So I'm guessing
You can get it on the you can get it on the Virtual Console for the 3DS.
I don't have a 3DS.
You're awesome.
And then use emulators then.
I think I said it already, but my first experience with Zelda was with Minish Cap, and I couldn't actually get to the second dungeon, the one on the mountain. It's very embarrassing. So by all intents and purposes, the only major Zelda game I played is Okami. So there you go. Anyway, in the next part, we continue the ascent towards the Vizier. Don't worry, both Kylene and Dark Prince will have something to say on the matter, and we're actually close to the end, and we'll get more story. See ya.
See ya.
See you then.
See ya.